I'm curious, and you know way better than I ever will, in all the promises that Peter DeFazio has done in Curry, in Coos, and Douglas to a great degree, isn't there a way that we can churn those facts and make those people realize, instead of naming a railroad car after him, that he just keeps them beholden?
Well, you see, that's part of the playing field we're on. It's a dishonest playing field, it's full of lies. Now, Pete, the last two elections, he came out with a new forest plan, right?
Yeah.
And of course, it died right after the election. Now they're out with a VA plan, right? The people have a kind of short attention span, and they can put out this thing. Pete's very little of his legislation he originated has ever passed.
Yeah.
Most of the time, he'll throw a bill in the hopper for special interest, but he doesn't follow it up, the committee doesn't consider it. Almost nothing Peter has done has ever become law. But he'll say, oh, well, I'm getting some heat here, I'll throw something in for you. Think about this, the earmarks, there's a lot of political power in the earmarks, not in the money they give, the money they promise. If you go to Pete and you say, you know, my community, we really like a new civic center. We've got an earmark for that civic center. And Pete's going to say, well, sure, that's great, I'll put you right there. We put you on the list. Now, less than 10% of those things are ever funded. But at election time, they say, Pete put me on the list. I want to vote for him. So the promises being put on the list for earmarks is what gets the votes. The earmarks themselves are only awarded to a relatively few. But they make these promises and promises.
But that's one
And people
point,
believe.
his list of promises.
But you also have the problem with the media. They will not, the media is with them. The media is in bed with these people. And so, for example, in, I guess 2012, he put a billboard up in the middle of Roseburg. I won Douglas County all 3 times. In spite of it, he put a billboard right in the middle of Roseburg saying that I was going to cancel the Social Security system and stop the benefits coming to middle people. And the fact was that we had an argument at a forum over it because I told him the benefits should be raised to match inflation. And he said he didn't think they should do that because they couldn't afford it. He would spend the money some other way. But there was. Now, that billboard sat there with the Democrat newspaper in Roseburg just smiling through the whole election. And you know how much money it cost to counter that lie? And can you counter it? And then there were a series of billboards on Highway 5, my picture, my logo, me telling my politics, except they weren't mine. You couldn't read the disclaimer, it was too small to read. But we polled it, 30% of the people thought they were my signs. And I was saying we're going to cancel the fellowships to Oregon State, we're going to close Social Security, all these things I was saying up and down Highway 5, except I wasn't saying it. But if I had done that, the press would have killed me.
Sure.
When Pete does it, they let it alone. Because there are 2 things going on there. One, there's the leftists leaning in the press. The other is a sort of constituents policy. They figure the congressman is usually elected. Why get crosswise? The guy's going to be the congressman. And that is everywhere. In the first 2010, I talked to the NRA in Washington. And we have a rating with the NRA and Gun Owners of America, perfect on the Second Amendment. Peace ratings weren't too good. And so I said, will you endorse me? And the NRA says, no, we have an incumbents policy. We endorse incumbents because they're usually reelected, and our goal is to do the best we can on the gun issues, and we can't offend the people who are going to be in Congress.
No kidding.
Well, that you understand what they're doing. Now, I talked them into not endorsing anybody that year, so I got some progress. But I'm not commenting against the NRA. I'm pointing out what this means. So if you're running a newspaper in District 4, and the incumbent is almost always elected, to go against him and know your congressman will be on your tail hurting you for the next 2 years if you endorse or help the other guy, so it's not just liberal politics, it's this incumbent policy that spreads all over the district. The businessmen are the same way. I have some friends down in Joseph County that are very, very wealthy lumber people. And one of the elections, they called my son Noah, and they said, Noah, everybody in our family voted for you, everybody. We hope you win. But we can't give you a campaign contribution because they'll see it.
Yeah.
And we can't afford to have them going after our lumber interests in the next 2 years. So you have an incumbent thing that is also very strong.